Hello traders, my name is Adam from Trade with Precision and welcome to this week's episode of IC Markets Market Commentaries. So I want to start off here by showing you the euro dollar. We could potentially be on some, I would say, important breaking here behavior here. So in other words, we've been range bound actually going back to 2022. Price has been ping-ponging a couple of attempts to break outside of this range. This last week we actually saw, so far, the month obviously still has another week to go. We saw an attempt to break out of that range, hitting some support at lower levels. So if we're going to have a look at it from a weekly perspective, are we overextended? Yes, we are, but the market may very well be very motivated to get out. This is driven largely by the US dollar at this time. So the dollar index is also breaking out to new highs. Here you can see Friday's close showing some rejection over here. And also if we go down to the lower time frames, so we see a little bit of bullish divergence on both the MACD and the RSI. So what am I looking for this week? Well, yes, that dollar might be motivated to break out of the range, but it also is overextended and due for a correction. So this week I'm going to be looking for retracement in the early part of the week, potentially to see if the market wants to get back inside that range or if it's going to resist getting back inside the range and actually continue to the downside. And if that is the case, when we look at it from a monthly perspective, we could be seeing that euro dollar really make some moves over the coming months. So that would be interesting. That would see some strengthening of the US dollar, which is interesting because seasonally also we're expecting actually a weaker US dollar. So that's why I said this week, looking to see what's going to happen there. Of interest to me, I think our other Swissy pairs I just want to highlight here, they've started to break out to the upside. So there are some of the Swissy crosses that are looking nice and bullish and could be providing buying opportunities, new buying opportunities for traders, day traders and swing traders alike. Looking at gold, so here I thought you might find this of interest. The last time gold was in a bubble, a really big bubble that I recall, that was in 2011, and actually I've measured from the most significant low there to the high, brought that across here to see if we have a sort of comparative move, and actually that one brings us up to about 28.50 if that is the case. Now the reason I bring this in, if we're going to have a look at it from a weekly perspective, we had a really strong recovery this week, not a complete surprise, not really. I'm just going to take that and just delete that, you don't need that anymore, but a really strong recovery. In other words, showing us that although price has been overextended, it was waiting for the very smallest excuse to do another big move up. And actually that supports the idea that the price is very much in a bubble. It's just not taking a breather when it should have, and it just keeps going. So I've marked the previous highs here to see if we do see some resistance here at 27.50. I'm allowing for price to head up at least to 28.50 if that is going to be the case. We'll see. But in this area, this is where I'm really expecting price to ultimately start to struggle. And then at some point, we'll need to have a monthly correction on that down towards 2,400 or potentially even as far down as 2,000. So that's exactly what's happened in the past. It's not unreasonable to think that it could happen again this time around. You know how many bubbles we've seen with Bitcoin, for example? Yes, gold can have bubbles. Right, let's move on to crude oil. So crude oil, yes, producing a very nice bullish candle this week off this level of support. However, it still currently is maintaining the overall bearish look. Lots of selling pressure from the upside at a key level around around these previous highs and a level of support. They're looking to see if ultimately price is going to break down. So unless, of course, what happens here, and it's unusual, but it's not impossible, we get a break above these previous highs, then we would see a break outside of that downward sloping trend line, and that would just negate that bearish build-up pattern. So here, what I'm really looking for this coming week is to see if price ultimately works its way back down towards the lows here. I'm looking and anticipating a potential break here, which could find price heading all the way down to $50. Let's have a quick look at the S&P as well. You can see also minimal retracement, very strong bullish candles, so the market very keen to break above previous highs to come back and retest them. Will be interesting to see if we do continue to find resistance where we are. But the markets maintain their bullishness for now. Having a look at the FTSE as well, it's back inside its range that it's been bobbing about for a while. And overall, I would say looking good for now. My expectation is to see the FTSE continue to move towards the top of that range. Then we have Tesla. So Tesla also looking very bullish. Again, let's have a look at it from a monthly perspective. You can see here, there's no reason why at this point it shouldn't work its way back up to these previous highs that it held in 2021. So that's really what I'm looking for. Excuse me. Any kind of retracements on the daily for now, my expectation would be they would potentially represent buying opportunities, but expecting that to continue to push higher. When we have a look at NVIDIA, you can see it started a bit of a retracement as well, but also seems quite keen to continue to push. So the markets are definitely in a bubble of sorts in the sense that they continue to push beyond reasonable boundaries, but that doesn't mean that they're going to burst anytime soon. They could continue to do it, but it's definitely overperforming at this point in time, which is why I say it's more of a bubble. Let's finish off with Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, again, just reaching for the stars. Nice round number, 100,000 there. If we have a look at it on the weekly as well, we've had a move similar to the previous move and a really nice bull flag here. So we are definitely entering the area roughly where I would expect it to run out of steam. Having a look at it from a daily perspective over here, at some point I do expect a little bit of a correction at some point soon, but it may not actually come this week. We might see a continuation to the upside, or we might find that 100,000 actually acts as that target point for this for now. So interesting to me, seeing right now, not really seeing any reason why the market should change their mind. Right now, expecting most of these conditions to continue. Be interesting to see if that dollar does revert back, if that dollar index also does decide to take a bit of a breather. But right now, absolutely, we are in very extreme conditions. So consider that, take that into account, trade cautiously. Thank you very much. Have a good week.